Hi there, I'm Caroline Backhouse, and I am a freelance artist and project coordinator. I'm founder of the Creative Reminiscence Collection and Creatives Club. These are projects that work with heritage arts and look at the stories in communities that people have to share. I was very honoured to be asked by Victoria Brown to make this video as part of the Legacy of Lace project she's running in Erewash. I currently live in Long Eaton, due to move to Coventry in 2 weeks. So I've carved out this little bit of space amongst all the boxes to present to you today. I've got a presentation, so we'll crack on, and it'll show you the process that I've took, exploring how to use a Cricut maker. I'd never heard of a Cricut maker until I ran a course about half a year ago, and then I was hooked. I thought this is a tool that I need as part of my kind of toolkit. I'm obsessed. I do metalwork and embroidery, and I love tools. But this tool is one that's unique and special in the way that you can use your kind of drawings and translate them into different materials. So let's crack on and get the presentation up for you. There we go. You should be able to see that. Excuse me. So today we're going to be looking at the Cricut maker and digital techniques. So from conception to creation. So I'm going to chat to you a little bit about the inspiration, how I then progressed to sketch from lace samples, and then how I use the Cricut maker to print the artwork to support Victoria Brown's crowdfunder campaign, and then how that's kind of led on to me diversifying and thinking, oh, how can we use this with different materials? So I've created a range of stencils, and then I'm just thinking now about the direction that I can take the different things that I've created as part of this project. So initially I heard of this, that Victoria was running the Legacy of Lace project. I'd worked with Victoria previously, probably about over the last year and a half in my role as programme coordinator at ArtCore. And upon having to leave that role in order to move to Coventry, I was intrigued by the Losing Lace project that Victoria had run in the past. And then I saw she was running a Legacy of Lace project in Erewash, which is the area, the district that I live in. And I wanted to fit in a little project before moving away to Coventry. I've got, as an artist, I have this sense of place and sense of, I want to kind of leave an art piece or a project that I've done in the place that I've lived. Place is really important for me, and having moved around quite a bit, it's kind of become my signature to leave something. And since this was called Legacy of Lace, it caught my attention. So Victoria had already got artists involved with the project and secured some funding from the Arts Council, but was doing a crowdfunder. And I noticed on the crowdfunder, she had different items that she would gift to people if they gave X amount of money. They could get a badge or a piece of artwork, original artwork, or a personalised bobbin, lace bobbin. And I just thought, oh, is there something I could do to support Victoria to get some more money in for that amazing project? And also use the new Cricut maker that I just got. So this was the first piece that you can see on your screen, and I just found a piece of Nottingham Lace, which I traced over on my tablet, but I'll take you through the process in a minute. But I loved the way you could almost recreate lace on this machine that cuts out. It's with a little knife, and it looked like it's been hand cut, which I thought was wonderful, and yet it didn't take very long at all. So I did this piece and I sent it to Victoria and said, can I support in some way the project? So she said, what did she say? She said yes, and she sent me some samples from her pattern books. Her relatives, her father, her grandfather, all these pattern books from the local lace factories here in Erewash. She sent me some of the samples, and here are the samples. These are my three favourites, really. And they're all quite different. If you have a little look at them, you can see on one of them, on the one on the left hand side, you can see how quite filled in the lace pattern is. They're quite dense and not very loose stitches. Whereas on the one in the middle, you've got a lot more gaps. And then again, I quite liked on the other side, we've got one where it's quite uniform and there's like perfect little, almost like hexagons. And I like the difference in those three samples. And I thought, oh, well, I'll start with those and see how that would translate. So let's have a look at what I did. So then I have a tablet which has a drawing application. So I'm going to just hold this up if you can see me in the little square in the corner. Let me get an example to show you. So I use this for sketching, and it is a fantastic tool. So here we go. So I've got a pen that comes with the tablet, and I was able to put a picture of the lace on, and then I was able to use my pen and sketch over it, which I know is cheating. And when Victoria creates artwork, it does it inspired by the lace, not directly kind of sketching over it. But for me, I felt I'm always somebody who likes to take and copy initially and then take it in a different direction. So we work quite differently, really. So I copied directly and traced over, and then I started to pick out on these, as you can see there. I picked out kind of key points. I realised when I was going to use the Cricut maker, they needed to be really crisp, the lines. So I went over and I blacked out rather than did individual lines for each line of the thread. I wanted them to still look like samples as well. So you'll see on two of them, there's still a frayed edge that we saw. If I just flick back, you'd see the frayed edge on some of the pieces. And I wanted to keep that in because I didn't want it to look perfect. The whole point was that I was inspired by these fragments of history. And I quite like the black and white pictures, actually. I quite like, and I've gone on to use parts of them, you'll see, with the stencils I've created. But let's have a look. So I then programmed into my Cricut maker. I've got a little video to show you in a moment. And this is what came out, and I was very happy. I was concerned. I had to do a few runs to get the lines right and to get the cutouts right. And you have to, when you print out, you have to use a little tool that's like a little needle to punch out the bits that don't come out. And as you can see, there's a lot of tiny holes on some of these. But I was really pleased. And then I was able to make a limited edition set that Victoria was able to use as part of her fundraiser. So those are the paper samples. But then I thought, oh gosh, the possibilities of this are endless. And my mind has been blown really about what I could produce. And then I thought, oh, it'd be fantastic to do a range of stencils based off these and based off some more patterns that I'm working on at the moment from one of Victoria's engagement days that she ran at Long Eaton Art Rooms. So let's have a look. So I designed these. So as you can see, they're elements that are taken from each of the paper the paper pieces, in order to create stencils. And I'm going to hold it up, but I'll show you when I come back to screen share. But this is the first of the stencils, on an acetate. So the machine I've got also works on acetate. So that was my first go, and I'm really happy kind of with the response. I decided to do smaller pieces because the machine, as you'll see it in action in a minute, it takes a long time to cut out each individual piece. It's not a laser cutter, it's an actual little knife that goes round. So you'll see, I think I've got the video here. So this is the Cricut Maker in action. There's this stencil being cut out, and then the magical peel back. The magic moment where you have a look and do the quality control. So when you get that piece, which I'll hold up here as well, you then have to poke out the bits. As you can see on there, there's lots of bits that haven't been poked out. It's called a weeding tool, and that pokes out, and you take those away, and then you get a finished stencil. And then I think we've got another little video to show you here. I'll just pause that. Let me go back. Oh, there we go. And this is what we then did with the stencil. So our first ever practice. So that was adding paint over the stencil to see if it worked as a stencil. And from that, I'll then refine the stencil. I'll have a look and see where there's maybe parts that are missing, parts that we want to add in as well. So I kind of did a first cut. So, and then here's a little bit of information about the projects that I run. But I'll add those in at the end as well. But I'll come back to stop share. And so here is the stencil. This is the first one. And I just want to talk about the capabilities of this amazing Cricut Maker. You saw the machine there in action. It looks like a printer, but you have all these fabulous different tools. So I'm going to hold up some of the tools. It's the Cricut Maker I've got, there's different variations, but the Maker is the kind of deluxe, all singing, all dancing, wonderful, wonderful thing that showed me you can print onto 300 different materials. And that kind of boggled my brain a bit. I thought, oh, it's got the capability to etch onto metal, to cut out balsa wood. It's got a rotary blade to cut out patterns in fabric. It can emboss and deboss. It can it's just fantastic. So here are some of the heads. So I'm going to hold those up. So this one is a little knife, and this is the one that was used to do the stencil and to cut the paper. So I fix that into the Cricut Maker, and I just use Cricut Design Space that I'll take you through to have a little look at as well. I've got a rotary blade here that you put in, and that's to cut out patterns. Let's have a look what else. So I've not used that one yet. I'm quite excited to cut out in fabric. And then there's a debosser and an embosser, or an engraver, sorry. So this one is the tool that would go in to engrave onto copper and or silver, and I do metalwork, so I'm quite excited to see. The machine doesn't cut thick metalwork, like metal pieces, but I think it does foil. But this will etch onto kind of onto all sorts really. And I've been having a play with this onto, let's have a look, onto some acetate. And can you see there? You can't, or you can't, you need something dark behind it. Let's have a look. Here we go. We can see it's etched onto the acetate as well. So not only does it do cutting, you can etch onto things, and I'm really impressed with the quality that comes out. I've been doing some hearts there, see what stencils it can do. It can do simple stencils as well. And I've got an example. I've given Victoria all the samples to sell of the lace, but this is a little letter that I was doing for a friend, based similar to Rob Ryan's Papercuts, but he does those by hand. This is a cheats version. I designed this for a friend, and it's based in, we call her Valley P, and it's based around Sheffield. So this is, if you've been to Sheffield, this is the Lyceum Theatre and the Crucible. And it's a little letter to her. I thought it was quite an unusual way. But you can see by this how intricate the paper cut can go. And if I can get it even finer than that. So it goes, I've made a badge with one of them to show you how fine. So if you see that, it can go even finer. It can cut paper in that sort of, so it's like 5 millimeters, probably even less than that. It's probably about 2. It can cut so precisely. I've been so impressed with it. And then I've diversified. I thought, oh, now I've got my stencil, I can use that on furniture restoration, which is what I'm doing at the moment with the lovely Annie Sloan paint. So I'm going to use that to do a pattern on the drawers, to do a repeat pattern. I'm going to get some of the stencils to join on so that you could have 2 patterns that kind of match up. And then I had to go with my badge maker that I've just got, which I absolutely love. And I had to go this morning at the pattern that I'd made with the stencil, doing some badges, and I think they've come out quite effectively. They'll be nice on a handbag. I've got different sizes of badges, so there's these, and I'm going to do some in this size as well. Let me just get some of those up. So I've got these tiny badges too, but I think they'd look fantastic with a bit of the lace sample on. That's an overview really. The price range of the Cricut Maker, I paid £415 for the Cricut Maker as kind of a leaving my old job and moving present to myself. And with the £415, I got a bundle of vinyl, so you can use vinyl with it to iron onto t-shirts, to put onto mugs. You can even create stencils so that you can etch over glass. I also got some big sheets of card to be able to cut from, and some dye. So there's some paper with dye in it that if I iron it, the dye will go into products, so it will actually sink into like a t-shirt or a mug as well, rather than just be laid on the surface. So I've been so inspired by Victoria's projects, she's got so many engagement events happening over the next few months, and an exhibition with the artists that she's working with, that it's fantastic opportunity to check out the heritage of this local area in Erewash. And if you're not from this area, I'd say come and visit. It's fascinating. And you can find out more on her website, Victoria Brown. And I think there's a Legacy of Lace social media as well. So do check it out. I hope today that little insight into the workings of creating the paper cuts and the stencils, I hope that's been interesting for you. And do contact me if there's any questions. I have 2 websites running engagement activities. So we've got www.creativesclub.org and www.creativereminiscencecollection.com, and that's more focused on these heritage crafts. So it'd be lovely to hear from you, and thank you for listening.